Let's
Okay.
get on with the show. Yeah.
Ba,
Hey,
ba, ba, ba,
everybody.
ba, 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 ba.
This week's classic, and I do mean classic
Oh boy.
movie, is from 1974, Odio Mi Cuerpo. Oh, that's translated into I Hate My Body.
What is it in Spanish?
Odio Mi Cuerpo.
Okay. Cuerpo is body
Cuerpo
or
is body, and odio is hate.
okay.
And me is my. So there you go.
Okay.
Well, did you? Well, you notice at the beginning of the movie you've got Spanish credits.
Yeah, that I noticed. I'm not up on my Spanish. That's
Uh,
one thing I want to do is study Spanish and
well, I can teach. It's easy. Just add an O, El Televisiono, El Caro, El. Yeah.
my dad used to be a building inspector for New York City, and he had to go with a landlord to collect some rent,
Yeah.
and the people were Spanish and didn't speak English. So the landlord goes to my dad, "Don't worry, I know how to speak Spanish." So he knocked on the door, and the person answers, and he goes, "Where is El Checo?"
El Checo.
Like, my dad's rolling his eyes.
Don't worry, I got it. I got it under control here. Oh my. Well, let's start again then. And now today's movie is the 1974 classic Odio Mi Cuerpo, aka I Hate My Body. And if you don't know what the title is all about means, according to anyway, I'm stupid today. Okay, I want to take
Okay,
three. You know what I mean?
that's all right.
Yeah. It's been like one of these retarded days, but
Yeah. Uh,
all right, man. So yeah, today's movie, I Hate My Body, Odio Mi Cuerpo, whatever you want, however you want to say it. Directed by Leon Klimovsky with Alexandra Bastedo and a guy that we saw a few weeks ago in Night Orgy of the Vampires. Remember the guy at the beginning of the movie, Manuel de Blas? He was the guy at the beginning of the movie that got
yes,
into the
he
car.
was. That's right. Wow. Because I'm looking at him going, now the woman too.
She was a television actress and
Right.
British. She did a lot of shows like The Champions and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
that's right. I was watching. I'm going. Where do I know her from? Did we see her in the movie? Then I remembered it was she was in the Champions, which I
I've
just
never seen The Champions, and I saw like they
okay.
had a for sale on Amazon, but they wanted way too much money for it. So
They usually do. It's not a bad that these people crash in the Himalayas, and the people from the secret city of Shambhala rescue them and save them and give them superpowers, and
oh
then
yeah, okay.
they fight crime.
So
So
you saw it on television back in the
yeah,
olden
I
days?
saw it back in the day, and then I just like maybe March or April, I just rewatched the whole thing because I hadn't seen it in a while.
What is it? Is it on Roku?
Uh, I think Tubi, maybe.
Tubi's got The Champions. I'll check it out then. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
It's either
well,
Tubi or Plex or Roku
yeah.
channel or what's the other one? There's another one. Pluto would be another one, and
Yeah.
there's a
Comet.
few.
Yeah,
Comet's pretty crappy now, but
it used to be good because it used to play a lot of interesting monster movies. Now every time I check it,
Stargate.
yeah,
Stargate.
well, yeah, exactly.
They used to play
Again,
old B movies, and they used to play Night Gallery.
yeah, but again,
The-
that seems to happen. Something starts up, they get all the stuff that's really cheap that you haven't seen in a while, and then after they get more money, they start playing the stuff everybody else plays, and it's like, what's the point?
Sci-Fi Channel, same thing happened to the Sci-Fi Channel.
Yeah,
They're really good playing all the old stuff,
yeah,
and then all of a sudden they started playing like Roger Corman's Sharknado or
yeah.
Sharktopus or Sharktopus versus Butt Monster or something. I don't know. It was just,
That's
anyway, they
and
used to
then
play like actually when the Sci-Fi Channel started in '92, I was recording it because they were playing movies that weren't available even on VHS or
right,
whatever at that
right,
time. Old movies like the
yeah,
Horrible Dr. Hitchcock. They were playing episodes of Thriller. They were playing like Corman things that hadn't been on television for a
right.
while. So it was really I have recorded some of them, which I'll
That's
post at
cool.
some point. If I can find them, put them on the Destination Nightmare page. But at any rate, yeah, yeah, I'd never seen the Champions. She was in another movie that we watched, and I can't remember what it was right now. I was looking through her filmography. Oh my God, what was it? Did I get rid of the? Did I get rid of the? Yeah, I got rid of the. I got rid of the thumbnails or whatever it was. Oh wait a minute, here it is. Here it is. I think. I think. Let's see. But she passed away like in like 2014. She was only 67. That sucks.
Oh God.
Alexandra. Yeah. I mean, I was like, oh man, wow, really? I thought she'd still be hanging in there or whatever, but no, no, no. But this is just a weird. I wouldn't call this a horror movie.
Yeah, it seems to start out like a horror movie,
Yeah.
and then it goes into like some not spy, but like crime caper or something. It delves into sort of like social commentary, and
It does. It does
then
women's issues and trans issues, kind of in
yeah,
a.
then it goes into like a crime caper, and then it just comes to an end.
Yeah, that ending was kind of like I kind of figured it was coming, but I was kind of hoping that it
Yeah,
wasn't going to be that ending. But I kind of figured, but we'll get there when we get there. But let me see. Let me go back here and see. I know there was another movie that we saw that we were in it recently that we watched for the show, and of course IMDb is taking forever to go back and get it. Oh, okay, here we go. Let's see. The Ghoul. Well, we never watched The Ghoul, but that's a Peter Cushing movie. The Blood Spattered Bride. No, you never watched that one either.
no,
No, maybe. Yeah, no. I thought those two were the ones that hit that made me think. She was in Casino Royale, which we were gonna watch, but we never did.
mm,
Anyway, so yeah, so I Hate My Body, 1974. I guess you could call this kind of like some kind of a psychodrama, maybe, or something. It had an interesting concept, but I think it had been done before.
yeah,
But I just remember, and it's only available as a crappy
yeah. It
something
had a
weird video print.
yeah. It was pretty bad.
I was looking for it on eBay or and the only things available is, and this is from 35 print. I don't know, 35 what? I don't know, but it's not 35 millimeter. It looks like 16 to me. But
That's right.
yeah,
There was like a vertical scratch almost all throughout the
I
movie.
mean, it was watchable, but it was kind of like you got the gist of it. But at any rate,
Right.
and that car accident at the beginning, it's like really,
Yeah,
really,
he
you went into the car at that speed.
he bumps one wall of an underpass and slowly rolls into another wall head on without even damaging the car. But then the car explodes.
It isn't even a Pinto, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
He's like he hits the wall at like 10 miles an hour, and then you see
yeah,
you see you see the cut there. It's like you see there's an edit there, and it's all of a sudden boom, and I'm like, huh? That was it? Those Spanish
yeah,
cars are really flammable, I got to say.
yeah. I guess so. That's probably why they don't sell them here in the states.
Yeah, that's probably why they don't make them here, or they don't make them anymore. Everybody was going up in smoke or whatever,
Yeah,
including Manuel de Blas. But anyway, so he dies, and it cuts to an emergency room.
yeah. And there, well, over the credits, you see that him being wheeled into.
You know what my favorite credit was? The production, one of the production guy is. This is my favorite credit for today, anyway. There's a guy. I mean, obviously his first name is Jesus, but for most people in America, it's Jesus. It was Jesus or Jesus G Gargoyle. And I'm like,
Oh yeah,
Jesus
yeah, yeah.
Gargoyle. And I looked at it again, it's Jesus G Garcia Gargoles, but it's like, at
It
first
looks
I
like
was just,
gargoyle.
Jesus G Gargoyle.
Gargoyle.
Is that like a Hanna-Barbera character or something like that?
There's an
That's
evil
like,
fighting space ghost, or
yeah, something like that. It was just like, what? What's that? I actually rewound the thing. I was like, what was that name? Oh man, that's a good one. And it was real big too. It was like, hey,
yeah,
I'm Jesus G
Jesus
Gargoyle,
gargoyle.
or Jesus, but at any rate. Anyway, so they're in the emergency room, and there's a guy, and he's and his and the nurse goes, "Oh, Adolf, remember when you did those?
Shh, don't tell anyone. Shush, shush. Keep your voice
remember,
down.
remember those operations you used to do in the concentration camp?" They go, "Oh no, Adolf, oh no." He goes, "Look at these two here." It's almost like it was almost like Mel Brooks comedy or
Yeah,
something like that. But he's like, "Oh yeah, that's right, good idea." So he's got the mangled body of the guy,
right.
and he's got the nice body of the woman
Woman who I think he had in some kind of hibernation or
in a coma, maybe or something.
something like that. Yeah, and she had a brain tumor and her brain's gone. But you don't know that yet. So you see the operation. They show two pairs of feet while he's over at the heads, switching brains and stuff. And then he wakes up and he's looking around. And it's like, oh, what's happened? Oh, I remember a car crash. And the doctor Adolf comes in and says, well, we had a great operation. Your body
Oh,
died.
oh, and he's all bandaged too, so he
Right.
looks
He's
like
all bandaged too.
the mummy or
Right.
something.
And then the doctor comes in. He starts taking the band. Oh, first the nurse comes in and she's,
Yes,
you know,
don't forget that scene.
taking care of him. And he's like trying to feel her up. And
He like kisses her
every man
breast.
in this movie is a horn dog and
Yeah.
can't keep it in their pants. So he's,
Well, he won't have anything to keep in his pants from now
well,
on.
that's true. So that so then he's trying to feel up the nurse, and she runs out, and then the doctor. She tells the doctor, and he goes in and he starts talking to him, telling him about the car crash. His body died, and they had to do a brain transplant. And the guy's like, "What?" And then the doctor shows him a mirror, and you see Alexandra's face.
And of course, she has hair, but maybe it's a wig.
Yeah, that's
When they
right.
do a brain transplant, imagine they shaved your head.
Yeah. Well, and maybe he perfected that in the concentration camp.
Yeah, yeah, maybe. I don't know.
So
Uh,
she's stuck in the hospital. It's like it looks almost like an asylum of some kind, as well as a hospital. And she wants to get out. She's, again talking to the nurse, trying to get her to, let her out to walk or whatever. And the nurse says, "Oh well, we'll see what we can do." And then she's going through. Alexandra's going through the personal effects of the woman who died, whose body he is now in, and he finds like a lighter, and he sets his bedding on fire, and then Dr. Adolf comes in, and she attacks him and knocks him into the fire, and he burns and dies while she escapes, and then she's hitchhiking. Well, she's picked up as a hitchhiker, and the guy who drops her off, he tries to make some time with her, and she's
and that was a freaky scene because remember when
yeah,
the guy's making out with her,
he would
right?
yeah, you would see not the woman, you would see the guy, almost as if that's what his brain is imagining.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That caught me by
And yeah, it was a
surprise.
weird thing. She's all disgusted and stuff, and she gets out and runs away, and then she visits his wife, who's taken up with his best friend.
And she cashed in on the $1 million
Right, but
policy,
she
but
did.
apparently she didn't tell her the
Right,
guy.
her new boyfriend, and
But
then
but Alexandra
yeah,
Bastido, Lita figured it out because
yeah.
she had $1 million. He had $1 million life policy on.
So then she visits. Uh, um, she asked the boyfriend of the wife, who was once a friend of the guy. I need a job and I want to be an engineer. So the guy says, "Well, come see me and I'll see what I can do." So
Oh yeah,
then she then she visits. I think it's her friend,
yeah, yeah. She goes to her friend's house, and then there's a guy there. And I think that guy might have been like maybe
former
an old
date or
former
boy.
date or something
Yeah,
like
something
that.
like that. They
And they're
didn't really.
wondering where she was or how she was, and she just shows up there, and she goes like, "I'm really tired. I need to go to bed," and she just jumps into bed there and falls
Yeah,
asleep.
sleeps. So then she visits the wife's boyfriend, and he's sends her to the boss, who used to be a good personal friend of the guy who's been transplanted.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
going to
yeah.
be hard to explain this.
Yeah, basically, like basically from now on, when we talk about, Alexandra Bastedo, Lita, whatever her name is, she's a guy she's a guy's brain in a woman's
Guy's
body.
brain in a woman's body. So then she visits the friend, and he for a job interview, and he's like, well, you're a woman,
And now
and
we get the male chauvinist
yes,
women. So now, I mean, hey, women's today's, it's kind of like the same whatever problems of today. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
exactly. Maybe a little more overt and out in the open, because
Yeah, yeah.
at the
Women are doing way better today than they were
yeah.
back then.
So then he's like, well, I can't hire you, and I don't know if he hits on her or not.
He does hit on her. Yeah,
He
they
does,
all hit
yeah,
on her.
yeah. She's always hit on. So then,
She wears like different wigs too, or something. She's got different hairstyles, and sometimes it's a wig, and sometimes it
right.
isn't. So she looks kind of different throughout the movie, but she's very pretty.
So then she visits her friend, and they kind of start talking about a scheme to get the money, she's like saying, "Well, yeah, your girlfriend, uh, cashed in the insurance," and he said, "Well, she wouldn't hide something like that from me." He said, "Oh, but she did," and then she keeps saying that she was friends of the guy who,
Yeah, yeah, the guy that got
yeah,
killed.
so she's trying to act like the woman, but she has the brain of the guy.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. Anyway, so she tries to go back to the woman's old secretary job, and then the old guy hits on her, and tries to make a date with her. So then she's uh
yeah. Throughout the whole movie, she can't get any work.
right, yeah, because she's a woman. So then she's talking to her friend who she went to first. I think that was maybe they were like that was her
Her
roommate or something.
roommate, probably. Yeah,
Yeah, so she starts messing around with the roommate, and they almost, she kisses her, and they almost start making out, and the
and the
roommate's
roommate
into it.
likes it.
Yeah, she's into it, but then suddenly uh, he
Uh,
gets disgusted. I don't know, but because like his brain wants to, but apparently his body doesn't.
yeah, something weird. Something
Yeah.
weird. I don't know.
So she then goes to a psychologist and explains it all, and apparently it's the same hospital that Dr. Adolf was in.
Yeah.
So she's saying, "Well, I'm the woman who he switched brains with put a man's brain in a woman's body." And the psychologist goes, "Oh, you must be the one who killed him." So he calls the
Well, he doesn't
police.
say it at first, but he starts getting, and then he's just getting like he's going to give her some kind of a shot,
Yeah, to calm her down and put her
and
to
she
sleep.
splits.
Yeah, so she
He
runs.
figured it out. He figured out. You must be, I don't know if did he say to her, I think you're the one that killed them? I don't think,
Yeah, I think he.
did he?
Well,
Okay.
yeah, because I think he said, "Yeah, Dr. Adolf was killed and a patient escaped. I think you must be
You
the
must be the
patient."
patient who escaped. Yeah.
Right. So he's like, call the police. And she runs out and stuff. And then there's a scene where Dr. Adolph's nurse is driving somewhere, and then
Yeah,
Alexander.
that was out of nowhere. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like, where the hell? Yeah.
And her car
First,
blocks the road.
yeah, a car blocks the road, and then uh,
She
the nurse
chases
gets
her down.
out.
She's got like a whip in her hand.
She's got a whip. So then you see him whipping the nurse, and then he like throws the whip at her, and then Alexandra throws the whip at him,
Yeah,
at
yeah,
the
yeah.
nurse, and then drives off. So then she goes home to her family, and of course her dad
Oh
is
yeah, that's right. That was another weird one. I want to go home and like some people like recognize her and they go, "Why are they asking
yeah.
that?
Why? Yeah, where
Why
you?
are you asking where you go to? You're so and so's daughter. You should
Yeah.
know."
So then her father's acting like a douchebag,
Wants a
and
drink. He's like a drunk or
yeah,
something.
the mother's cleaning up and doing stuff. Then then she starts talking about. Um, she mentions, "Oh, you should see your son. He's big and strong, and he's
And
growing
she
up
freaks
very nice."
out.
Yeah, she freaks out and splits, and then she
He,
like
she
runs.
freaks out. He, she freaks out.
Yeah,
Whatever.
he. Okay, well from now on, say he, she.
Or
Yeah,
Alexandra.
yeah. So they, she runs out, and then and she gets an apartment or rents a hotel room of somewhere, and then she
And that,
visits a priest and kind of
oh
tells
yeah,
this.
she does a confession. That's right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the priest is like, well, these are weird thoughts you're having. You can't be a man because you're a woman, and you have to uh, like learn how to be who you are. And it's almost like he's saying she's got some psychological
Yeah,
problem.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Nobody's gonna believe that.
He's the only man who hasn't hit on her.
Yeah.
Other, so
Yeah. Other than her dad didn't hit on her,
yeah, her
but
dad didn't hit on her too, right? So then she gets a job in the factory work, and you hear all the women with the various complaints, and
and the funny voices. Some of them like
yeah,
some of them sound real New York kind of. You know.
right. And she, the boss comes out, and he's looking around, and he's making sexist comments, and then he sees her, and he goes, "Oh, hey, how about a date?" She agrees. So apparently, uh,
Was she trying to like maybe date him to see if she could get move up in the company or
I'm not
something?
sure of that, or if I mean, I think part of the premise of this
Is
movie
that the
is that
thoughts keep moving from male to female,
yeah,
maybe or
like
something?
your body has a strong influence on your mind, and I think at one point, I think the psychiatrist says uh, something like, your psyche is your psyche, your brain, or your body.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
I would think it would be your brain because I mean your
At the
body's
beginning, the hormones and the emotions,
well. That's true.
maybe.
Hormones would change things. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, yeah. Sure. Yeah.
so. She goes on a date with the boss, and they go
You go on a motorcycle
on a
somewhere out in the country or something.
motorcycle to some visit in a mountain lake or whatever, and then they go up. They sort of get away by themselves, and then they start making out, and then suddenly he's trying to kiss her. Then it's suddenly the guy.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, yeah.
it sort of
They do that
switches, and
flashback
he's like
thing.
getting all revolted, and she pushes the boss away, and he's like, well, screw you, and he leaves on the motorcycle and leaves her there out in the
Yeah,
woods.
out in the woods or whatever. Yeah.
So then she gets her friend, her roommate, I guess, works in a bar, I think.
Yeah, what was that? It was like a diamond. It's like a pickup bar. No, it's not a pickup bar because it's got like those old
Yeah,
bar
dance.
women there. They'll be
I
picked
think
up
it's
or
yeah. You go, you can dance with women.
like a diamond dance or
Yeah, that
something.
kind of thing. But and I think the women are there to help have the guy buy more drinks because the there was a scene where the waiter is like, here's your drink. He says, no, I want real whiskey. So I think he hired women to sort of get guys to buy more drinks and whatever.
Yeah,
But
and then the manager was like, "Oh, okay. Well, look, you have to do this." And even though you don't, she never had her papers or something. Well, you don't have
right,
your papers,
yeah,
but blah 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 blah. Okay, well, I'll introduce you to everybody. Here's Miss Miss
Miss
Norway,
yeah, Miss South
Miss
Africa,
Miss
Miss
South Africa, Miss
England,
Finland,
yeah.
and I go, "No
And
way."
now here's Miss Germany, and then they all get a line, and they're all walking around the
And I'm
table.
looking at him. I go, "Not so much, you
Yeah.
know."
So anyway, yeah, it's like some kind of
Yeah,
bar
he's
where
like, "Go on, give us a fashion show or something."
yeah, and
And what was
if
she gonna be? What was she gonna be? Miss Spain? Alexandra's gonna
Miss
be
Germany, I think.
Miss Germany. Okay, whatever.
And I think it's like if he said, the owner of the club said, if you want to sort of hook up with the guys, you have to do it outside the club because I want no problems with the
And
police.
did he say we get 25% or something like
Yeah,
that?
half of what you get paid.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, so the girls are trying to show she how to do it and stuff. So she walks up and
And then she gets like an afro wig or something like
yeah,
that, right?
the first day she was wearing like long hair, so it must have been the second day or something. Yeah, she has an afro
Because at
wig.
first I couldn't recognize her and went, oh, that is her. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, she changed her hair a lot in this. I
A
guess she
lot
did
in
a
this
lot of
movie. Yeah. It was like wigs by, whatever, the wig maker was,
So
Pepe the wig maker. I don't know. I don't know. It's a Spanish movie.
so uh, she's getting real drinks and getting drunk, and she and one of the women helping her learn the ropes are sitting with two guys, and one guy's like keeps wanting to pay her money to go have sex or whatever. And he's offering her like $10, and I don't know what you get for $10 back then, but it seemed kind of cheap. And then he starts throwing money at her, and she's like, "No, I don't want your money, keep it." And then he starts arguing with her, and then she argues with him, and I think she punches him at some
She
point.
spits it. She spits a drink in his face.
Yeah, and then they're fighting. So the owner goes, "All right, I told you no problems with the cops. You don't have any papers,
Get
so
out of
you're fired." So then she uh, meets with the wife's boyfriend.
it. Well, yeah, she gets the plan.
Yeah, so yeah, they plan to get the $1 million life insurance money and split it. And he's like, "No, no, no." She says, "Oh, I know she has it." And she produces a letter
From the guy from her
from her
former
male.
self.
So apparently, when she writes, it's the same handwriting as what he wrote.
Yeah.
So it's here's a letter. We're going to you're going to have to leave the money at a certain place. She goes to the wife and says, you got to leave. I think it's half. I'm not sure. The money, just do it a drop off, and then I won't send the letter to the authorities. So
Yeah,
the
but,
woman,
be, but here's a weird one. Before they do that, don't they go into the crypt and steal the guy's dead body? There was a scene where
yes, you're right. I thought that was after, but yeah. So they steal because they're going to if the
were they going
cops
to frame him like she killed the guy or something? They're going to frame her with his dead body or
something like
something.
that, but it wasn't really explained. But I think
No,
a part of it was that if they the police went to look at the body, they
there wouldn't
would
be anything in there. Yeah,
yeah, there
that's
wouldn't
it.
be anything in there.
That
So
makes
she's
sense, kind
talking
of.
to the wife's boyfriend, and so they break in, they steal the guy's body and put it in the car trunk, and then she goes to the wife's boyfriend and says, "Oh, now he is part of your reward." And so she starts kissing him and making out, and then she takes a gun out and shoots him and kills him,
Yeah, that was weird.
and then puts him in the
The trunk.
no, not the trunk, the coffin.
Yeah, well, she had to take him to. Oh, that's right. She shot him at the graveyard. Yeah.
Yeah, and put him in the thing. And then what's in the trunk is his dead, her Alexandra's dead male body.
So basically, what she was trying to do is tell the woman, look, if you don't, he's still alive. If you
Mm.
don't give me half the money, then he's going to come out and say that you forced that you pretended like he was dead and
Right.
you got the money unscrupulously. I guess that's what the
Yeah,
plan
something
was.
like that. So blackmailing her.
Some blackmail, yeah.
Yeah. So then,
Oh, that's right. She shoots a guy. That's why. Yeah. Okay. Now I get it. Yeah.
then she goes to the wife and says, "Here's a letter he wrote," and he says, "I'm still alive," and blah blah whatever. So then the wife, I mean, then yeah, the his wife, Alexandra's she's wife, drops the money off. He picks it up, and she comes out of the. There's a funny thing. She
The
comes out.
cop, the cop
She
scene. Yeah.
comes out of the train station, and there's a cop there, and there's a bit of the
There's a bit of the dead body's claw sticking out of the
yeah
trunk.
sticking out, and she's like getting suddenly gets nervous, and he just writes her a ticket, and she's like, Phew. So then you see her driving, and
At night.
yeah, and she's at like a dock,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and she meets her roommate, and I don't know. I don't remember the conversation, but she gives the roommate like a big wad of cash, and the
No, no,
roommate
no, no, no. That wasn't a roommate. That was one of the other hookers, I think.
was it? It
I
might have
think
been.
it was. No,
Yeah, it might have
she
been. Maybe the
disposes of the car before anything,
yeah
and then
yeah
she and then like stupidly, it's like if you've got like a briefcase with a $500,000. Call a taxi.
Yeah, I don't know why you're walking around the. Well, again, he's thinking like a man.
Like a guy. Well, okay, okay, we'll give it that much. We'll give him
So
that.
yeah, so she pushes the car into the water with with his old dead body in the trunk, and he's
Leaves
walking
the doors
along.
open so it doesn't float. You
Right,
know.
and he's walking along. And suddenly, these three guys come
Well,
out.
first, first before the three guys show up, he gives
Oh,
she gives
gives
the woman. The woman says, "Oh, I need. I'm going to get some money for this and that." And she pulls out like a wad. He goes, "Here you go." She was like, "What?" She goes, "Yeah, don't worry. It's been nice
yeah.
knowing you."
I think that was the woman in the dance club
Yeah, it was one of the dancers.
helping
Yeah,
helping
who
her
was
show.
hoping to win the lottery or something like
Yeah.
that.
So then she's walking in this dark, like
And I knew something was going to happen. I knew something.
yeah.
She was going to get robbed or killed or
Yeah.
something. So
So these three guys surround her and they chase her and assault her, rip her clothes open, and have
they
their way
rape.
with her. And they're like, "Oh, well, maybe she'll enjoy it next time." And they're all
Did they
sort of.
steal the briefcase or no? They didn't steal the
I don't
briefcase.
think so because he didn't see it at the end,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I don't even think they would have cared. I think they were just out for some
Well,
fun.
it's
So
half a
anyway,
million bucks in there, you know.
they
I mean,
walk away. She jumps up and attacks one of them, and they're struggling, and he pushes her aside, and she
hits the
falls.
wall with her head.
Yeah, some metal beam or wall. It hits her head, and then the guys are looking. She's lying there, and the guys are looking, and they sort of scatter. And then you see blood coming out of her ear and her mouth, right, her
Yeah,
ear or something like that. And she's laying there and blinking and looking at the scene, and then she sort of closes her eyes,
and that's
and
it.
fin. The
That's
movie.
it. Yeah, strange, strange movie.
Yeah, it was. I don't. It didn't seem to. It kept going back and forth between different things, and you weren't sure, which I guess was the point of the movie, if the male brain was adapting to the female body or the female brain was adapting to the a female body was adapting to them. There was always like some kind of conflict. They didn't really explain it very
Yeah, and,
well.
in a way it makes sense because if you think about it, if you think about it in a whatever sci-fi way, you got a female body with a male brain. So the brain is adapting to the body. Of course, the
Right.
brain's gonna like, if it's a heterosexual, it might not like male advances. But like we were talking about before, you've got like female physiology and urges, and
Yeah.
who knows what this woman might have felt something in her emotions that the brain. How many times do they say, well, guys don't think with their brains? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
That's true.
so something something along those lines
Yeah.
could have been, but it definitely she did not like guys,
No, definitely liked women,
women. Yeah,
and especially earlier on in the movie.
yeah. There was a few scenes. You know what a movie feels like? It feels like some old 1960s or 70s sleazy paperback novel that
Yeah.
some guy wrote, like Ed Wood wrote maybe or something
Yeah.
like that. I don't know. It has that feel to it. It's kind of grimy and
In some ways, it
sleazy.
reminded me of Dr. Jekyll's Sister Hyde
Yeah, I could see that.
thing too, where the gender swapping kind of confused him, and
I
he
could
wasn't
see.
quite sure.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. That's right. I forgot about Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde. It's a good point there. I forgot about that.
yeah,
That was another one of those, and I think that was earlier too.
yeah, it's an interesting movie. It doesn't really fit into any category though.
It's like a psychodrama.
A
I mean,
psycho,
it's got sci-fi at the beginning with the brain transplant.
right?
It's got a little bit of Nazi horror because the guy was a Nazi doctor,
Yeah,
and then it's got a lot of like feminist things in it. Like
right,
male chauvinism and
right.
all that stuff. And you know,
And then at
I
the
mean,
end, like a crime caper kind of thing.
yeah, like a crying caper, yeah.
With
And
the
I
steam.
mean, yeah, and I mean, what it makes you think that, not to bring it to today's date, but is that what a person who wants to be trans feels like? It kind of, I mean, it kind of make me think a little bit. It's like, are they? Because if you hear about people that, like a guy that might want to change into a woman, but do they really want guys or do they still want women? You know what I mean?
Well, you know, the artist
Jeff Jones,
Jeff Jones.
Jeffrey Catherine Jones, yeah.
I remember seeing an interview with him, and somebody asked him, what was surprising about your sex change?" And he said that I still found women attractive.
The same as this movie.
Yeah, so I'm thinking maybe, um, even though you may, well, again, with the
Even though
hormone,
they turn you into some kind of a woman, a female,
right?
you still have male thoughts and emotions. It seems
Yeah,
like.
and they're probably ingrained or wired in some way as your brain is developing. And
So, so,
even
so
if you uh, get like a lot of female hormones, I don't think you fully
yeah, I
change.
don't know, but it's
Yeah,
obvious that they're not. It's obvious. It's not obvious because I have no idea. But it
right,
seems to me like a lot of the people that have sex changes aren't homosexuals. They're just feel like they're a
right,
woman trapped in a man's body, so they
right.
want women. And I'm like, okay, I don't get it, but what do I know?
Yeah,
You
well,
know?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and a lot of I shouldn't say a lot, but there are people who have transitioned and then try to transition back because I guess it didn't change their internal thoughts the
Yeah,
way
that's
they.
a weird one too.
Yeah, it's a very
But I mean, I guess there's some people that don't, for lack of a better term, get it cut off, so they're kind of hedging their bets a little bit. You know what I mean?
I don't think Caitlyn Jenner had hers
I
right.
don't know. Some people do. Some people
Yeah,
go
go
the go the
some.
extra mile, and then you can't come back.
Yeah,
I don't think. You
yeah.
know,
I don't know, to be honest.
it's a weird concept, but
Yeah,
this was a weird movie too. The fact that you're tying it into like Nazi
yeah.
experiments.
Maybe he was trying to figure out how to get from point A to point B.
I don't know.
Like because nobody's going to be doing a brain transplant except the next Nazi.
I don't know. That was the one that threw me for a loop. It's like, well, do you mean the ER doctor is an ex-Nazi mad scientist? Didn't. That's what I said. It sounds like it was written like in the 60s or 70s. Crazy Ed Wood.
Yeah,
Ed Wood wrote a lot of sex novels, and I'm sure he would have written something like this.
yeah,
But
exactly. I remember an episode of the Beverly Hillbillies where the banker boss hit not Drysdale, Miss Hathaway
Miss
with an
Jane.
ostrich egg, and so she had some eggshell in her hair, and Granny found it, and she's going, "Oh, poor Miss Jane, her skull's growing thin, so we're going to have to do a head transplant." And she goes, and I'm going to do a nice pearl stitch around her neck to make it look like a
Oh no,
necklace.
that was a strange show. It was a funny show, but it was a strange show. There
But
was it wasn't there was ones where Jethro was Jethreen and he was like dressed up in drag or whatever. Those are
yeah,
bizarre.
that was his twin sister, Jethreen.
Those are bizarre shows, man.
Funny though.
It was a funny show, yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, I mean Alexandra Bastedo, man, she wore like about 4 or 5 wigs throughout this movie. I wonder why.
yeah. I think maybe
She had different looks.
trying to show that all like she's every woman
Yeah, I don't know.
with
That's
different hair or something like that.
She had short hair,
Yeah,
long hair,
blonde
different
hair,
styles of
green hair.
long hair, and afro. It was like, okay,
So maybe she was
whatever.
every woman goes through the same thing, or
Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, I just saw it and I said, hey, let's do it because it's like, we did a Spanish horror last few weeks ago. I said, hey, let's watch it because like I want it. Sometimes with these movies, whenever it's my turn to pick, it's like this is my excuse to finally watch something, and I
yeah.
mean,
Well,
whether
I'm like that too because I like
you know,
there's some movies that I'm interested in but never seen, and like yeah, let's watch this movie and see what it is. A lot of them come from when you post those double bill movie ads.
oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Because I mean, I remember looking at them in the paper, but not being able to go because I was too young. And
That one that I posted the other day, what was it? Blood Spattered Bride and I Dismember Mama.
yeah,
That actually played at a theater near my house.
really.
Yeah, that was good. Played at the Colonial Theater in Hialeah. That's a theater that I went to when I was a kid. That's the infamous theater where me and my friends snuck in to see Emmanuel, and my grandparents were there. And like I freaked out, and then all of a sudden, like 10 minutes into the movie, they get up and leave, and I have to duck so they don't see me. I saw a lot of B movies. I saw Children Should Play with Dead Things there. I saw Night of the Living Dead there. I saw Madhouse, a few others. To Teacher, a few others. Yeah, that was like the mini grindhouse in good old Hialeah. But they closed down in '85. They started in '73, which would have been around the same time as that double feature was, and they ended in '85. And here's the funny part. I don't know if you want to call it irony or serendipity or whatever you want to call it, but the place goes in '85, right? The theater. A couple of years later, you know what it becomes?
What does it become?
A video store. I'm not kidding. It was called Master Video. The movie theater became a video store. If that's not like, perfect, and now it's not hilarious. The last time I went down there, it's hilarious. After the video store went down, it became like a karate school. Well, they used to play like karate movies there, so it's a weird little spot. But yeah, it does have great memories going there. And next door to that place were apartment buildings. And I remember going to a party there one time at one of these apartment buildings, but it was just like if you lived at those apartment buildings, you could just walk, you know, half a block and go see all these cool movies, because it was right next to it. It was weird. And across was a 7-Eleven, and oh, those were the days.
Yeah.
But at any rate, yeah, this is another Spanish. Leon Klimovsky. Leon Klimovsky directed the Vampire's Night Orgy, the one we saw recently.
Oh, the other one. Oh, okay.
That was a better movie. And he
Yeah,
direct
yeah, it was.
and he directed a lot of those Paul Nashi werewolf movies, like The Werewolf and Vampire Woman and all that stuff. So he was a good director. This isn't one of his better ones, but it was an interesting movie. It was different,
Yeah, it
you know.
was. If you
But
went
you
in
should.
thinking it was a horror movie or a science fiction movie with not
It
not
really was. It had elements of it, but not really.
yeah, you'd be disappointed because it kind of veered off into a different
Yeah,
track.
crime. It had like
Yeah,
every genre in it. Crime, sexual, confusion,
demons. Yeah,
Nazi exploitation, sci-fi, you name it.
whipping, bondage.
Yeah, a little whipping, a little bondage for the fans. Yeah, like Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde was really more of a horror movie than this.
Yeah, because he kept changing, and I think after a while he couldn't control, like the Sister Hyde character
Took
just had
over. Yeah,
over his psyche or whatever. But yeah, that was much more a horror
she's
movie.
gonna be at a convention in Butler, PA,
Who
October. Martine Beswick, Sister Hyde.
was she really?
Yeah,
Butler's
yeah,
kind
the infamous Butler, PA, by the way.
of, yeah, a lot of stuff, interesting stuff happens out in the western part of.
That's near Pittsburgh, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
little south of Pittsburgh. That's where they have a lot of UFO sightings, Bigfoot
Oh
sightings.
yeah.
They have a lot of conventions out there and
Yeah, I
stuff.
went to one of those monster bashes there, like in 2008, and I can prove it because we're on the video. They shot a video of the
That's
show, and
cool.
my
That's
friend,
cool.
the late great Chris says, "Hey, look, the video, we're in it," and I'm like, "There we are in 2008, standing there talking in a lobby." I'm like, "Wow, we're famous, kind of, sort of."
That's cool, man.
Anyway, so that was I was gonna say that was Dr. Jekyll and Sister Hyde. No, that was I Hate My Body. Interesting movie. It's on YouTube if you want to check it out. It's not a great print, but it's watchable. I watched it on my big
Yeah.
TV. It was okay. But it'd be nice if somebody would put it out I think somebody found the print and put it
Yeah.
out real nice. Because
And
it's a curiosity of sorts.
yeah.
And I'm sorry to hear about Alexandra Bastedo, but oh well. You know. Anyway, we'll be back in a couple of weeks, and you get to pick the movie this week, and
Cool.
we'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, Roddy,
In the meantime, you should watch more B movies.